The life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that makes atonement for the soul. My name's Arthur, and I thank you for joining me as we read together from Leviticus chapter 17. We have some additional information given in this chapter concerning sacrifices. The instructions that come to us in the scriptures are given from various perspectives. First of all, we had the sacrifices presented from the Lord's perspective in the actual procedure for each sacrifice. And then we had some of their applications in the case of their sin or in the case of cleansing from infection. Chapter 17 brings us a third perspective on some of these sacrifices. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to Aaron, to his sons, and to all the children of Israel, and say to them, This is the thing which the Lord has commanded, saying, Whatever man of the house of Israel who kills an ox, or lamb, or goat in the camp, or who kills it outside the camp, and does not bring it to the door of the tabernacle of meeting, to offer an offering to the Lord before the tabernacle of the Lord, the guilt of bloodshed shall be imputed to that man. He has shed blood, and that man shall be cut off from among his people, to the end that the children of Israel may bring their sacrifices, which they offer in the open field, that they may bring them to the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of meeting, to the priest, and offer them as peace offerings to the Lord. And the priest shall sprinkle the blood on the altar at the door of the tabernacle of meeting, and burn the fat for a sweet aroma to the Lord. They shall no more offer their sacrifices to demons, after whom they have played the harlot. This shall be a statute forever for them throughout their generations. Also you shall say to them, Whatever man of the house of Israel, or of the strangers who dwell among you, who offers a burnt offering or sacrifice, and does not bring it to the door of the tabernacle of meeting, to offer it to the Lord, that man shall be cut off from among his people. And whatever man of the house of Israel, or of the strangers who dwell among you, who eats any blood, I will set my face against that person who eats blood, and I will cut him off from among his people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that makes atonement for the soul. Therefore I said to the children of Israel, No one among you shall eat blood, nor shall any stranger who dwells among you eat blood. Whatever man of the children of Israel, or of the strangers who dwell among you, who hunts and catches any animal or bird that may be eaten, he shall pour out its blood and cover it with dust. For it is the life of all flesh. Its blood sustains its life. Therefore I said to the children of Israel, You shall not eat the blood of any flesh. For the life of the flesh is in its blood. Whoever eats it shall be cut off. And every person who eats what died naturally, or what was torn by beasts, whether he is a native of your own country or a stranger, he shall both wash his clothes and bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. Then he shall be clean. But if he does not wash them or bathe his body, then he shall bear his guilt. My name's Arthur, and I thank you for joining me as we take note of Leviticus chapter 17. The key point in this chapter is the fact that God has not given blood to us as food, but rather he has given it to us to make atonement for our sin. It is the blood that makes atonement for the sin, and that is why the Lord Jesus was crucified. His blood was poured out on the cross to make atonement for us. Hebrews in the New Testament tells us, in fact, the blood of bulls and goats cannot take away sin. It is only the blood of the Lord Jesus Christ. But the sacrifices of the Old Testament, when their blood was poured out, spoke of the pouring out of the life of the Lord Jesus Christ. For the life of the flesh is in the blood. And the blood of those birds or animals is never to be eaten, because when they are slaughtered the blood is poured out. Any animal that dies naturally is also not to be eaten, because the blood has not been drained out. And it says that God will judge the person who eats the blood. But the concluding verses of the chapter indicate that if perchance a person does eat an animal that is torn or an animal that has died naturally, they are unclean. They must wash their clothes, they must bathe, and they are considered unclean until the evening. Now, of course, the way that God judges is through the natural processes. He may do something that's extraordinary, such as opening up the earth and swallowing a person, but normally it will be just through natural process. The person will get sick. The point is that the Lord has instructed us not to eat blood. Some say that the New Testament proclamation that all foods can be eaten means that Christians are not bound by this rule. But I go back to what was said to Noah, that God did not give blood as food for people. And verses like this, which outline a basic principle, the life is in the blood, and the blood has been given on the altar to make atonement for us, indicate that the Lord is not pleased if we eat blood. The other issue that comes up in this chapter is the offering of sacrifices to demons. The instruction seems to be that if they're going to kill a peace offering, that they must bring the blood of the peace offering to the tabernacle. Whoever man of the house of Israel who kills an ox or a lamb or a goat in the camp, or who kills it outside the camp, and does not bring it to the door of the tabernacle of meeting to offer an offering to the Lord before the tabernacle of the Lord, the guilt of bloodshed shall be imputed to that man. He has shed blood, and that man shall be cut off from among his people. That would seem to make it impractical for those who live some distance from the tabernacle, when they come to live in the land, to kill animals for eating. But it's evident that the children of Israel did not interpret it that way. What the requirement is that when they kill an animal, they must pour out the blood to the Lord. And if they are near to the tabernacle, then they should offer it as a peace offering to the Lord. But the key thing is that they should not acknowledge any other demon when they kill an animal for food. They shall no more offer their sacrifices to demons, after whom they have played the harlot. Later the children of Israel would make high places on all the hills near their towns, and on some of these high places they would say that they were worshipping the Lord. But these high places were historically places where Canaanite gods were worshipped, where demons were worshipped, and the children of Israel were not to mimic or follow after that pattern. And when it came to offering a burnt offering, the burnt offering needed to be brought to the place where the Lord's name was. And although God is everywhere, for the children of Israel he was in particular at the tabernacle of meeting. And if a person was offering a sacrifice to the Lord, but was not coming to the tabernacle of meeting, then God would not accept it. God's people are one. There is only one Lord Jesus Christ, and there is only one company of true believers. And we are enjoined to recognize that all who confess the Lord Jesus belong to him, and not to recognize particular organizations that men have set up. But there are some people who would say you have to be a member of my particular group of Christians to be truly saved. Some have said, unless you've spoken in tongues, you are not saved. Others have said, unless you are baptized, you are not saved. But that is putting another name ahead of the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. And the gospel makes it that whoever believes in the Lord Jesus Christ shall be saved, and let those who name the name of the Lord depart from iniquity. So that true believers have Christ as their priority, not their particular denomination, and are open to receive believers, as evidenced by their works and by their faith, who do not necessarily meet in their own particular fellowship.